I just bought this Audi A4 Avant for £1,300, but it has a big issue. So when I saw this car on Facebook Marketplace, I was having a little look around because one of my friends really wants exactly this car, the A4 Avant S-Line Quattro 2-litre TFSI, 211 brake horsepower from stock. The car's interior is actually super clean. This seat does need a nice freshen up. That seat also needs a nice freshen up. But the rear two seats look really, really good. And this car is in absolutely great condition. Even the wheels have no scuffs on them, no curb rash. They look absolutely spot on. It's had Pirelli tyres all the way around. And the only real damage on this car is this little scuff right here. There's nothing else that looks bad about this car. And obviously it's an 11 plate. So it's 15 years old and it's just really kept in good condition. So this car is actually really clean for its age. It really looks immaculate on the outside and the inside. But the main issue is this car doesn't start. The owner didn't know what was wrong with this car, but didn't have time to fix it, so now it's my problem. The car seems to crank over really nicely, but I don't know whether there is any compression or whether we've got a really simple fix. I diagnosed this car when I went to view it, and I believe it could just be a fuel pump or a fuel pump control module. But if I'm wrong, this could be a really expensive fix. And after looking over this engine bay, nothing really jumps out to me and says that there's anything really wrong with this car. So I'm hoping that this is going to be a nice, easy fix. And it's going to be a great profit maker, considering I only spent £1,300 on the car and £200 for recovery. So right now we're sitting at about £1,500 deep into this car. And fingers crossed, we don't have to spend much more. So the car is currently sitting on 142,000 miles. And when I put the key into the ignition, it does say it needs a service, which the previous owner did say that it needs a service, but he didn't bother servicing it because obviously the engine wasn't running, and there's no point in him spending the money to get it serviced when the engine wasn't even running anyway. We also have a massive chunk of service history right here, which is great to see from a car of this age. And whenever I buy a project car, I always start with the basics. And that begins with scanning with a diagnostics machine, checking out all of the fault codes that are stored, and trying to understand why the car actually isn't running. And to diagnose this car, I'm going to be using my new launch diagnostics device from King Bolin. This device comes in an absolutely awesome case that almost looks like a bulletproof briefcase. And inside the case you get the tablet on the left hand side, and on the right hand side you get all of the cables, the charging cables, and you get several different adapters so you can use it wherever you are in the world. And the great thing about this tablet is it's completely wireless. So what you do is you plug this little dongle into your OBD port, and then you use the tablet to be able to connect to this so you can do all of your diagnostics completely remotely. So just by plugging the diagnostic device into your OBD port just underneath the dash, you'll hear the little beep beep and you'll see the lights. And then you can come over to your tablet and press Intelligent Diagnose, and it will do everything for you, read the VIN, decode the VIN, and be able to allow you to read all of the codes on your car. And here we go. So the health report has finished, and we do seem to have quite a few different fault codes coming up. If we look at the right hand side here, we can see that a lot of them say passive/sporadic, which means they're not very active. They have been active, but they haven't been wiped recently. The only one that I can see here that says active/static is the fuel pump electronics signal wire. So we have something wrong with the fuel pump electrical wire. And from my knowledge, that could be one of two things. That could be the fuel pump control module, or that could be the fuel pump itself. So I'm not going to actually worry too much about the sporadic ones. I'm going to focus on that because that's my main issue, because it's static. But there's so much more that you can do with this device. You get 2 years worth of free updates, a really nice clean tablet with a camera on the back, and a proper professional setup where you can provide the diagnostics feedback, you have diagnostics history, you can diagnose any special functions. And to be completely honest, there's too many for me to list here, but you have ABS bleeding, you have AdBlue resets, you have fuel air resets, battery matching, clutch matching, coolant bleeding, DPF regen, EGR adaptation, and as you can see, so many more. There's so many things you can do with this device. And one thing that I need to pick up is a borescope. With this, you can connect a borescope to here and do a video scope, which allows you to use this as a screen for your borescope. This device is also a bi-directional full system scan device. So basically anything that you want to do, you'll be able to do on this device. So what I want to do is check the fuel pressure and check the fuel pump specified value. What I'm going to do is start the engine, or try and start the engine at least, let it crank over. There we go. So as we can see, the fuel rail pressure is going up, but still nowhere near where it needs to be. So I believe there's actually no fuel getting to the fuel rail, because I believe this should be around like the 5,000 mark. So one of the basics that we really want to check is obviously fuses, because if something's going on with the fuse, then we need to, you know, check that first essentially. So you can use a little key and just pry that open. It's a little bit tough. Oh God, that one's really tight. And the great thing about most German cars is it will give you this little sheet here on the back of this panel, which will allow you to, you know, see what is what. So we need to look for a fuel pump here, fuse carrier brown, fuel pump diesel / petrol, 20 to 25 amp, and it's in the brown carrier. Okay, so inside of here we have a red carrier, we have a black carrier, and we have a brown carrier. So let's pull this off. Oh, there we go. Oh, and what a surprise, we actually have a little fuse puller. Yeah, so it's that top one right here. So let's quickly pull that out. Oh my God. You know what, I don't know if you can see that, I hope you can. It actually, the fuse is blown. The fuse is actually blown. There's a big chip out of that part right there as well. Okay, what I will do first is replace this 25 amp fuse, and we'll see if this car starts. If this starts, honestly, that is going to be absolutely ridiculous. This that's the bargain of the century. And if you'd like to pick up one of these launch devices for yourself, I'll leave a link in the description below, and I'll leave my discount code on screen right now to save yourself a little bit of cash and make your diagnostics journey way more enjoyable. Thanks so much, King Bollen, for sponsoring this video. Let's get back to fixing this A4. All right, so I've just picked up some more fuses. Now if we get a new fuse, stick another 25 amp back into here. Now I guess the moment of truth. Are we going to hear the fuel pump? I can hear the fuel pump. Oh my God, is this gonna go? Oh my God. No way. No way. It just needed a fuse. Oh my God. It's running absolutely lovely. It's still got an engine light, so we're gonna have to check that out, but obviously we've still got the codes that I left on there from when I scanned it, so maybe we can just plug the scanner back in, wipe those codes, and then see if it just stays off. I've just pulled the scanner back up, just going to quickly read all the codes. I'm going to wipe them, and then I'm going to rescan it after I've restarted the engine, just to see if there's anything come back. Right, I'm just going to clear all the codes. Cool, no fault codes. Right, now if we start the engine again. And now we have no engine light. Okay, so I'm going to have to quickly just take this for a drive, make sure that there's no codes, come back. But I think we might have this fixed. I can't believe that we actually may have fixed this car with literally just a fuse. That absolutely boggled my mind. I mean, sometimes it's just as simple as that though, and it's actually really nice when you get a car that is literally just a fuse or something so simple. And that's why you always start with the basics. Just look at the electrics, look at the, you know, the fuses, because sometimes it can be just that easy. So now that we have this car running and driving absolutely perfectly, there's a few little bits that we need to do just to make this car absolutely perfect. And one of those things is the window switch. So the rest of the buttons actually work absolutely fine, but the driver side, it clicks down fine, but then it doesn't click up fine. So it has no click there. It, like here, it clicks up, it doesn't click. So I've got a replacement one of these right here, and as you can see, this one clicks, and all of them click. They all work properly. So I'm going to replace that. There we go, and that's the window switch done. So window comes down, window goes up, sorted. So when I stick the car into reverse, the parking sensor just flashes like this, and I'm getting this code right here. So the next thing that we need to replace is this buzzer, and I don't know why it's called a buzzer, because it's more of a beeper, but let's get this replaced. So all you need to do is take off this little fuse panel from here. Then you need to take out these two bolts, which are underneath here. There's two little 8mm bolts, and then we also have one little 8mm bolt right here, and then we can pull this whole panel off. And after a little bit of searching, this, if we look at, obviously the steering wheel's here, if we come underneath here, let me just put a flash on. Underneath here, it's right there. That is the buzzer. So we need to take that out. There's two little bolts holding it in. I believe they're T25s, one there and then one just behind this. So I've just plugged the new one in, and then if we put the key in the ignition, just make sure it works. There we go. So now it's not flashing, and the screen should work also. And there we go. The screen is also working as well. So that's great. Let's put this back together, and then we can get on to servicing this car. So I've just received my Autodoc box of parts, so I can finish the service on this car and get it listed on Facebook Marketplace to be ready to be sold. So the first thing we need to do is get it up on axle stands. 3, 2, 1, and there we go. She's up on axle stands. Drop the under tray, pop the bonnet, open the bonnet, remove the old oil filter, remove the sump plug. While the oil is draining, we can come under the passenger side and replace the cabin filter. Put the sump plug back in. Old oil filter, new oil filter. And as you can see on here, 20 Newton meters is the torque spec. And then 20 Newton meters. And then with your sump plug reinstalled and your new oil filter installed, you can then remove the oil cap. And this car takes 4.6 litres of 5W40. And then we just have the 6 bolts for the air filter housing. You actually need to remove this pipe first to get to the last bolt. So after taking the under tray off and getting ready to put the new fuel filter in, I've just done some research, and it says that the fuel filter is actually in the fuel tank. So I'm not going to need to replace that because it's in with the fuel pump. So just before we take the car off axle stands and put the under tray back on, I just need to run the car up to temperature for 2 minutes, because this doesn't have a dipstick. So it's all done digitally on the dash. So let's run this car up to temperature and make sure that we have the right oil level. And while we wait for this car to warm up, I just want to ask, if you have enjoyed today's video, make sure to hit the like, hit the subscribe button. I'm really looking to level up the channel now, and once we sell this car, I'm looking to pick up the channel with the cars even more. So with your help in just a little subscribe, that would really help the channel out and make sure that I can keep leveling up this channel and making better and better videos. Right, so the car is now back off axle stands. I've been letting it run for the last 15 minutes. Turn the ignition on, as it says here. Switch ignition on to configure selected systems. Cool, so we are up to the max. That's absolutely fine. I'm happy with that, because these engines do burn quite a bit of oil, so being up to the max is absolutely fine in this. There we go, as you can see just there. Sweet, so I'm happy with that service. All I need to do now is use the launch diagnostics device to sort out the service light on the dash, because obviously now it's had a full service. As you can see, service due. Let's just get that reset, and then this car is completely finished. All we need to do is go on to special functions, oil maintenance resets. Going to go to auto reset, and then I'm going to do an oil reset for a major maintenance, and then I'm going to manually set arbitrarily, and then I'm going to set 8,000 kilometers, which is about 5,000, which is where I like to service my vehicles. And then I'm going to put 180 days, because it's typically about 6 months before you do another service. And then that's done. And there we go, it's been reset. And that's the Audi A4 completely fixed. Everything is done and is now ready to go up for sale. What I am going to do is quickly give it a wash, just to get some really nice photos, so I can list it on Facebook Marketplace and get the best profit possible. I have also cleaned the front 2 seats and the back 2 seats. So the interior is looking really, really nice now. And the last thing I do need to put on is the center caps, but they haven't arrived yet. And now it's time for the breakdown on the car. So obviously I spent £1,300 on the car. I spent £200 on recovery. I spent £8.61 on center caps, which actually haven't arrived yet. I spent 20p on a fuse. I spent £24 on an oil, £11.39 on oil filter, a fuel filter which I didn't need to buy for £31.82, a pollen filter for £7.59, an air filter for £12.82, a door switch for £14.20, the parking buzzer for £5.49. I also bought a fuel pump control module because I wanted to upgrade it, and I didn't put it in the video, but I upgraded it to the more revised one for £20. And then I also got this car MOT'd, which cost me £50. So the total comes to £1,686.12. The MOT also passed with flying colours, not a single advisory on this car. And that is a complete U-turn from the last series that I done on the Audi TT, where I spent 5 months fixing that car. This has taken me all of 2 days. So it's a bit refreshing, but hopefully in the next video, I will let you know how much money I've made from this car, and fingers crossed we'll have the next project car ready to go. If you did enjoy today's video, make sure to leave a like, hit the subscribe button, and I'll catch you in the next one.